I don't have to put any hard-boiled eggs in my mouth for this one, do I?
Just balls.
Just balls. Just eggs with veins.
Isn't that the same thing? Oh, we're not the guess.
I guess it is. I guess it is.
I've been hanging around gas stations. I've heard about tires. I've been talking to grease monkeys. I've been working on cars.
Fucking hell.
Hey, here we go again.
Yeah, one more time.
The song's been stuck in my head for like 3 weeks after we do a show. And we do a show
One
every
more
week.
stream.
It's hard to be in charge of all this stuff. I got to run the board. I got to be the audio guy. I got a lot of stuff I got to do here. And it's funny
Jerry
when
Todd.
Jerry
Todd.
And when we were having a couple technical difficulties a few weeks ago, I was like, well, maybe I can get Rybo or Dave to run the board. I'm like, nope, they're not going to figure that out. Don't forget, my top songs of the year on Spotify, number 3 is Running Back to Saskatoon because of this show. What you guys don't know is they do a podcast in a South American country, which is why number 2 is Panama.
Yeah, I see. Yeah,
which you guys did not know.
Makes sense.
But welcome back to the Winnipeggers, episode 21, and we are very excited to have you here. And it's crazy because should we be full disclosure, guys, or what? Or should we try to be mysterious?
Yeah,
both.
Whatever you feel. A little bit of both.
Okay, so we record usually a couple episodes in a row, and that's why, once again, a few weeks ago, Winnipeggers 19, we were off our rockers because we were super loaded. And in 20, we decided that we are alcoholics. With 21, we were back to the live show, which was great. And now I think we're back on track. I'm feeling pretty good about this week because last week we were like pretty as sober as a judge, as they say, Rybo.
Yeah. That's what my mom used to always say. But
really, was she a judge?
She always wanted to be sober she wanted me to be. Sorry, let me say this again.
She always wanted to be a sober judge.
She always wanted me to be as sober as a judge when I came home.
She didn't want you to be a judge. She just wanted you to be sober.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
What did your parents have aspirations of you to be, Dave? Do you have any idea?
I think they kind of just let me be a free thinker, to be honest. You know, there was really nothing like that. It was I had my heart set on different things, and I just went for that. You know, I don't quite
choose
recall.
free will.
Yeah.
I think that's one pretty. I think my parents are pretty similar too. Especially, my dad was always cool about me going into wrestling because he had done something similar, like followed his dreams at a young age, you know, and kind of thrown everything to the wind. But my mom was always a little bit more like wrestler, like really, like is there nothing else you want to do, you know? But she was cool with it once I kind of started doing it. But I think the moms are always a little bit more worried than the dads, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I know my mom was worried when I went away to college, and she should have been. That's another episode.
Well, it's funny now talking with my son. It's like, you know, he's 17 now, and he's in grade 11, as we say. In the States, he's a junior, which is weird because it starts freshman, junior, senior.
Varsity,
No,
yeah.
There's another. Oh no, it's not varsity. We don't even know. We're such idiots in Canada because we go grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12.
It's called the number system. It's a numbered system. It's easy.
No, I know what it is. It's freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. And I'm like, how is junior higher than sophomore? Sophomore sounds like a general or something. A junior sounds like a little kid.
Sophomore should be after junior.
Yeah, because it's a bigger word and it sounds better.
Right.
I would rather be called Chris Jericho sophomore than Chris Jericho Jr.
Or Regis J. or Rourke
Chris Jericho Jr. doing the helicopter.
Great show, guys. And like I said, we're taping this show, so we don't have the same amount of feedback that we would, but what we do have is a great sponsor back again, which I did have something written down here, but I apparently have lost it. So I will write it again, which is Dave Spivak. Watch, I'm doing this live. DaveSpivakProject.com. Is that right, Dave?
I want my free money back. Yes, DaveSpivakProject.com.
Right. Boom. There you go.
You.
So our sponsor this week is the man who's right there in front of us, Dave Spivak. DaveSpivakProject.com. If you want to get one of these amazing and very quickly selling toques, people have been buying these things like hotcakes. So we're not making a joke. This is a serious story here. You made your first batch. You said they sold out.
Yeah,
and
I sold
no
out my second
advertising.
batch. Yeah, it's unreal. Yeah, they're really good quality. Like this one, I literally have had for like a year and a half. I wear it all the time. I ride my fat bike in it. I go out snowboarding in it. I got my name on it. I like to wear my own merch. I'm one of those guys. But it's a really, really high quality toque. Come over to DaveSpivakProject.com. And, funny, I do have something to talk about on a tiny bit on that, is I am working on my sophomore album.
Oh.
Wow, nice.
Right? Callback.
So it'll be your second album.
Second album, yeah. Full
43rd
second full
album.
album. So I anticipate that to come out in the spring, and I'm really excited for everybody to hear it and to come on board and join the website. There's a lot of fun stuff up there. There's a lot of music videos that Ryan has been involved with, that Ryan and I have shot together, and had a lot of fun. And there's a lot of cool stuff. It's really coming together. DaveSpivakProject.com.
There you go. And don't forget our other sponsor this week, who's is Painmaker.store for the entire Painmaker apparel line. You can see that all the different designs, and it's actually gone through the roof. Very popular stuff based on my clothing and sweatsuits and hoodies based upon my time in tours of Japan. So there you go. Those are our sponsors of the week. And Rybo, do you have anything you want to promote? Rybo.com or?
No, I don't have anything. Sorry.
All right. Well, if you see Rybo around town, slip him a $5 and say good work.
Yeah, give him a little smack in the bum, and here's 5 bones.
Didn't you say somebody recognized you from the Winnipeggers, Rybo, when you were working?
No, I didn't say that. No.
You did say that. Someone said, "Aren't you Rybo from the Winnipeggers?" Don't go all Dave on me, because I'll pull you off again. The number one rule of improv is never say no.
Yeah. This
Oh
guy,
my God, there's a cat walking behind him.
Oh, there we go. This guy stopped me on the street and he's like, Winnipeggers, aren't you a Winnipegger? And I said, yeah. And that was
I'm in
about
Winnipeg.
it. I live here. Don't you live here? And he's like, yeah. And that was about it. So if that's what you're talking about, yeah.
Wow. I
That's
get none
what
of that
people
here.
recognize you from being on the show. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, there we go.
Right.
So slip me a $5.
Slip you a $5, mate. So last week we were live, huge show, one of the biggest we've ever done, with imitations, which was hilarious, always a good time. So we take you on all different places here on the Winnipeggers, and we're gonna go to what I'd like to call Rock and Roll Crazy Nights, which is some great concerts and stories involving those concerts and all that sort of thing. We've seen some good. Winnipeg was always a great town for concerts. The only thing about it was, like, Maiden would come every tour, and Priest would come every tour, and the Scorpions would come every tour, but Dio never came, Ratt never came, and Rush never came to Winnipeg when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Interesting story.
That is
why
interesting, yeah.
why would Rush not play Canada? But every other band would come through Winnipeg. AC/DC, every tour they were there. Kiss, most of the tours they were there. So, Dave, you had this idea. So where do you want to start?
Well, I'll start as in Winnipeg. I have 2 concerts, 3 if I have the time, but the concert in Winnipeg of Pink Floyd's Division Bell at the Winnipeg Stadium, we're talking like maybe 1993, was absolutely mind-blowing. 36,000 people. It's just packed, and they've got everything out, all their old stage props, gigantic amps, everything. This wicked digital circular video screen in the middle of the crowd that was moving around. It was out of this world. And, well, I took mushrooms. I took mushrooms with like a few of my buddies, and we were really fucking
Snitch line.
Yeah, and this is a long time ago. And they're kicking in, and you guys know that song. I think it's from Animals or Metal or something. It's like one of these days. You know, it's got that bass riff, and the only lyric
Floyd
is
song.
yeah, and the only lyric is "One of these days, I'm gonna cut you up into little pieces." Okay, that's it. And then the song just goes nuts, and then it breaks down. It's a fantastic song. But it's trippy as shit. You're at a Pink Floyd show. And while the mushrooms are kicking in, we're seeing people being pulled out in stretchers, by the way. Like, this is like the place you go to take acid and stuff to go see a concert. You don't go to Pink Floyd normally without tripping out. So, anyway, the huge amplifiers were the size of skyscrapers, and they actually had the inflatable pigs come out of them with radar eyes, and they're going, "One of these days, I'm going to cut you up into little pieces." And I look at my buddy Trevor, and we just go, "Ah!" We just start laughing. But we were like super scared at a Pink Floyd show, you know? It was such a cool thing. And I've seen the Stones. I've seen McCartney in Winnipeg. I saw that old stadium show McCartney did in about 92 or 3. Just crazy stuff. I got one more that's...
But hold on. Before you tell the story.
Yeah.
The thing about Pink Floyd that's interesting is I was never a Floyd fan. And I got into about 10 years ago. I remember I was on the bus. We were in Stratford-on-Avon, which is like the home of William Shakespeare, and also the birthplace of Slash. This is where Slash was born, Stratford-on-Avon. And it was fucking like February. It was freezing rain. It's really cold. It's not snowing because it's wet, so you're extra bone chilling. And I remember for some reason I said I want to listen. Somehow Pink Floyd got into the radar. And I bought the album Animals. And it's very similar to a Dream Theater record. Rybo will know this. I think it was 6 degrees of
turbulence.
Inner turbulence.
Where there's 7 songs and they're like 14 minutes, 18 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Animals by Pink Floyd is like that. And there's no hits from the album. But if you put that on, if you're in the right mood, and I was in a real pissed off, grungy, angry, rainy mood, and this album was perfect. And I was like, fuck, I finally get it. But you can totally see why, if you're not in some shitty suicidal weather, you need to be high as fuck to really understand it.
Yeah, it's definitely creative, interesting stuff for sure.
Rybo, you got to save your concert, Dave, and we'll come back to you. Rybo,
sure. Round robin.
Yeah, Pink Floyd was pretty out there, man. They had like
you
some
saw
of their
him?
albums. Like I wasn't at that concert, but
I saw a cat behind you. You saw a cat back there.
I don't think there's a cat there. I think we're just imagining that.
Was that Rusty?
The great cat. Oh, I wish it was Rusty. No.
Rusty would probably died 25
Rusty would be
years
37 years old right now.
Rusty's the oldest cat in the world.
He's been obese. He's been obese his entire life, and he's lived until 40 years old.
He's living off nicotine.
That's a pretty good call, though, man. That was Rybo's cat when he was a kid. When we were kids, Rusty. That was a good call.
Yeah, he was.
We had that one party once where you came over and we were all wearing this. Like, Rusty had died like not too long ago, and you asked about him. I said, "Oh, Rusty died," and I had some pictures of Rusty, and we put them on our like lapel and walked around.
Walking around with pictures of Rusty.
Rusty. But anyway, I saw the Rolling Stones as well. I remember seeing U2, which was amazing.
Yeah.
We kind of I had like not the best seats there, but I snuck onto the floor and I ran up and I was like sixth row from the stage, and it was amazing. Just really crazy. I wasn't going to talk about that story, but maybe I should talk about it now because I just thought about it. But anyway, I had something else prepared on my cocktail napkins.
We'll come back to it.
So that was funny. I was at my friend Mark Boland's place, and he lived kind of close to there. And we all drank. Like,
not to be confused with the lead singer of T-Rex. Of T-Rex.
That's right. Yeah. No relation. No relation. He gets that all the time. He does play guitar though. But anyway, we drank like 5 or 6 tall boys each in like half an hour, an hour.
Whoa.
Just chugged them down, literally ran to the stadium as fast as we could. We got there and then we're kind of like, waiting to get, we got in, we're standing, waiting to get some drinks. And my one friend was standing in line and I was like, okay, I'm going to go over towards where everyone's coming in. And all these girls were coming in, I was totally loaded. So any girl that would come in, I'm like, hey, how's it going? And I put my arm around her and stuff like that. And some people thought it was funny. Some people didn't think it was funny. This one girl, I remember putting my arm around. I'm like, hey, where's our seats? And she's like, I don't think so. And I'm like, what's do you have a boyfriend or something? She goes, I can weed out the trash on my own. I'm like, oh, okay, no problem. And she just totally disliked me. And I went on and, had a great time at the concert. A couple weeks later, a friend of mine asked me, hey, do you want to go to this pool party? And I said, yeah, sure, I'll go to this pool party. I don't know anybody except for you, but whatever. And he's like, I know a couple people there, but it's a pool party. It's kind of intimate. So we show up there at the pool party. We're hanging out. And I don't know anyone. I'm kind of hanging out. And this same girl walks into the party.
Oh, no.
And she looks at me and she goes, what? Him? And then she's like, Jen, how do you know him? And she looks at me and goes, I don't. And I was like,
If she could only see you now on Winnipeggers with this Christmas tree behind you and a cat walking around. He was a skater boy. Say you later, boy. It's the story of our lives.
You know what's funny is that I remember like going to like those shows when we were kids. Like it's I think we might have discussed this before, but when you went to a concert back in those days, like it's still awesome now. Like I went to Iron Maiden in Vegas with Jeff in 2015, and in the hallway of the venue, people are chanting Maiden and they're screaming and yelling, and it's just like so exciting because Maiden's one of those bands that still has that. But when we were kids, like to go to a concert was like the fucking best thing ever. And everybody was involved and everybody was rocking, and you didn't know what the set list was. You'd have to go and watch the show, But the thing is with us, so we mentioned a lot of bands played in Winnipeg, but if they didn't, a lot of them would play in Fargo. And I saw Stryper and White Lion in Fargo, which was a killer show. But the one that really stands out is it was the Hot in the Shade tour in 1990. It was Kiss with Slaughter and Faster Pussycat opening.
Wow.
But this was outside. It was like at a big racetrack. And so I had a car, that 76 Volare that I had, which was, we discussed on First Cars. And my mom had just bought me a brand new pair of sneakers, like white sneakers. Remember that green laces, green neon laces? Those are kind of the cool things. And we went to this gig and we ended up right in front. And this is a Kiss show. Like Kiss is not Slayer. But on that day, like people were going fucking bananas because, like you said, Dave, they had a big Sphinx behind him. That was the set. Was a Sphinx. It was the first time there wasn't the big Kiss sign. So the Sphinx during God of Thunder, the mouth moved. I am the Lord that deceives you, a modern day man of steel. And people are going fucking nuts. And then finally at the end, the head of the Sphinx opens, whatever, and it's the Kiss sign. And you finally see it. I remember this meathead with no sleeves on, just fucking going nuts. He was screaming Rise to it, which is a super obscure song. Like, and people were like, everyone was moving to where you're like, you couldn't even control which way you were moving because you were just part of the crowd.
Yeah.
And it was super muddy too because it just rained. Anyways, we had a great time. I remember Paul Stanley's big thing was he would do Fargo with a yodel, like Heavens on Fire, like Fargo, whoa, 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 whoa. I like Fargo, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like 18 times, like drinking game. So the thing was, we didn't have any money or anything at that time. So when the show was done, you get back in your car and you drive back home. It was about 5 hours from Winnipeg to Fargo.
Yeah, 5 hours. Yeah.
Right. So we drive home and I get home at like probably 6 in the morning and my runners are just covered in fucking mud. So I try and hose them off at the side of my house. I'm like, fuck it. I'll just deal with it later. I go to bed. It happens this day with our wives, but it's like 3 hours later, getting shaken awake. What did you do? What did you do? Like, what happened to your runners? They're filthy. Your runners. This is my mom. Just your runners sneakers. Your sneakers are ruined. I'm like, Mom, I just get out there and clean them. And it's like, 9:30. We just got home. I'm like, Mom, it's like, fucking shoe polish or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But it was worth it because I got to see Kiss.
Who shoe polishes their sneakers?
That's great.
Hilarious.
Oh, it's so funny, man.
Wow.
So what other one do you have, Dave?
Well, mine would be kind of on the far end of the spectrum compared to the Kiss show or the Pink Floyd show, and that was seeing Neil Young in a real intimate setting at Massey Hall in Toronto. And I went with Chad, Wise cousin Chad, Chris's cousin. And we get these tickets, and we're so pumped because it's so hard to get tickets for a small theater show for somebody like that. So we get on right away, and we get second row floor. And we're both just going, holy shit, this is nuts. And the tickets arrive in the mail. This is, 15 years ago. And we got them, and I go to Chaz just to look at them. We're so pumped up. We're going on this trip to Toronto. And it says, may have stage obstruction. He goes, what could that be? And I laugh. I go, it's Neil Young acoustic show. It's not with Crazy Horse. I go, maybe there's a candle. Big deal, right? There's not going to be any stage props. Well, we show up in our seats. Dead at 12 o'clock is the cigar store Indian that Neil Young stole out of a cigar store in the 60s that he takes on the road with him everywhere he goes still today. And it's only, a foot wide, 6 feet tall, and it's right in front of us. And this was us watching Neil Young at Massey Hall. I'll freeze.
Time. Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, it's just those little things. It was so funny, man. We had a great time, and that was a great show. But what a dumb thing. It's like, oh, come on. What is it going to be? There's not going to be anything there. Did you guys, talking about concerts just back in Winnipeg just for a second, I don't want to get off topic, but Bryan Adams, did you guys go to that outdoor Bryan Adams show at Birds Hill?
I didn't go, but Extreme also played, right?
Yeah.
And it rained.
That was nuts. Pouring rain, huge storm. Oh my God.
So do you remember, Rybo, when we went to the famous Dream Theater Fire Marshal show in LA?
Yeah, I do.
So
Definitely.
I had them on Talk is Jericho a few weeks ago, and I actually I talked to John and James. I forgot to ask them about that, so I actually called John back about a week later. We did an extra 5 minutes and edited it in there. But let's talk about that. So we go to Dream Theater in LA at the Palace. It was called the Palace, and they're doing Scenes from a Memory in its entirety.
Yes.
And about 8 songs in, they're playing The Spirit Carries On. And explain what happened.
Well, basically, James LaBrie walks off stage, and all of a sudden he doesn't come back on. And then all of a sudden it gets a bit quieter. Like things are just starting to like turn off and stuff like that. And eventually it's like basically Portnoy up there just playing drums, and all the amps are turned off and everything. And he just goes on the mic. He's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, guys, but the fire marshal's here. They're shutting us down. But fuck it, I'm going to keep playing. And they still try to keep playing. And everyone, the whole crowd is singing Spirit Carries On, which is pretty amazing. Everyone just stopped. And,
it was really cool. Yeah, because the PA shut down, and then all you heard was the monitors. And then they pulled the plug on the monitors. So all you heard was the live drums.
And then everyone's singing.
Because that's what John Petrucci said. He said it's such a anthemic song that you're singing along with it anyways. Yes. So when they pulled that away, everyone, it was just like, it was really cool. Like just the drums and a bunch of people with slowly the cops are coming in to kick us out,
Yeah, we're just laughing too, because Dream Theater wasn't that big then, Yeah. And we were like, they shut it down because of overcapacity. Like we're at a Dream Theater show and there's too many people here. Is that even possible?
I was laughing too, because I remember there's so many people that I had to take a leak. I actually pissed into my beer cup and just put it on the floor, which was promptly knocked over. But at least
oh my God.
My friend pissed on the floor in front of Chad and I. Chad didn't see. I saw. We were at Metallica show on the floor, front row, and James throws his pick. Lands in the piss. Chad just smiles, gets so excited, picks it up. It's like wet. I don't even tell him. I was like, oh God.
It was James Hetfield's piss.
He knows now.
Yeah. You can't leave those seats when you're up there. You can't go to the bathroom and cut through all that crowd.
Oh, the best part of the whole Dream Theater thing was everybody has to leave. And I'm like, if this was a Pantera show or a Dream Theater show or like a Slayer show or Metallica, there'd be fucking riots in the streets. People be fighting and angry.
Yeah.
Instead, everyone just leaves.
Everyone's
There's
like,
like we went outside. There's like 18 cop cars, and it's like all these nerds.
Yeah. They
Just
went home
kinda
to
like,
do. They went home to do math. They were just like, "Excuse me, pardon me."
That's funny. Yeah, I think it was interesting for us because they were actually playing 2 shows in a row.
That's
But
right.
we got to go see them the next night, so we're like, well, we're gonna get to see them play the whole thing again tomorrow night. Hopefully, it doesn't get shut down.
Yeah, exactly.
So we weren't as pissed off. But I remember also one of the funny things from that was that's when I met Paul Gargano. From Metal Edge magazine at the time, right? And he introduced me to the silver dollar, what the silver dollar is. So that's when a guy goes and takes a piss, and then he pulls up his pants or his underwear, and you still see that little piss mark there. That's called the silver dollar.
The piss.
Thanks, Paul.
Oh, you guys.
Rybo, you have a picture here. What's the story behind this?
Oh, well, this is one of my heroes. I went to see the Aristocrats. Speaking of Dream Theater, he was part of the drummer auditions for Dream Theater, and I think
Is that Marco Miniman?
That's Marco Miniman right
Nice.
there. Yeah.
Oh, right on.
So we went down to see him in Minneapolis. Another one of those things where they don't come to Winnipeg ever, but you go down to Minneapolis, about 8 hours from here, and they were just amazing. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. They're just off the charts. The 3-piece band. He's one of the best drummers ever. The whole band is just phenomenal. And I talked to him and I said, hey, by the way, I think you did the best job. You should have got the Dream Theater gig, but I'm glad you didn't, because you have like these 100 other projects that you've done that are great stuff. And he goes, yeah, I'm just not that big of a fan. And he said that they talked to him after. And I go, well, what Dream Theater songs have you heard? And he goes, the 3 that I auditioned for. The only ones that he's listened. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe that had a factor. And I also remember seeing, and it's also like, get Mangini. Mangini's obviously amazing. Yeah. He's shorter than everybody else. He's from New York. Get it? I call that the Billy Idol rule. I don't know if you know about that, but Billy Idol had a rule. Billy Idol rule was that he had to have anyone in the band had to be shorter than him, which is one of the reasons Steve Stevens was in the band, because Billy Idol's only like 5'4" or something like that. So you got to find it's like midgets and pretty short people that are auditioning for this, right?
Oh, that's hilarious.
And nothing against Steve Stevens, because he's great too, but it's
nothing against Steve Stevens, that little fucker.
but I remember seeing a picture with when they did those Dream Theater auditions, and Marco Miniman standing there, and he's like this much taller than everybody else. Like he's a super tall guy. Right. And then, Mangini's nice and short, so he doesn't take over.
That's actually my favorite solo album by Mangini. Nice and short.
That's pretty good.
I got one more story. I'll keep it a shorter one. This could be a good way to leave people until next week. So Chad and I would go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame every year. The last time it was with Dave. It's always a good time. Bands are playing, so much fun. So Chad and I went like 3 or 4 years in a row. So this is the year that McCartney is inducting Ringo Starr. So we're like, and we know this great lady that works for Jan Wenner and Rolling Stone magazine. So we are allowed to go onto the floor. Dave was there. But our rule is we can't go anywhere on the floor. They can't kick us off the floor.
Right.
But because we don't have a table, we can't really stand anywhere. You can't stand here. Okay, then we go stand over here. Can't stand over here, so we go stand over here. So you kind of just walking around, right?
Yeah.
So NWA did their speech, and then they leave, and they left all this great food on their table. So Chad and I are scavenging like cookies and like shrimp or whatever. And so we see where Ringo and his wife, Paul and his wife, Yoko, and George's wife, Olivia, are all sitting at a table, and they're right near the front. And we're like we've been doing this for years. We're trained professionals. We know how to always act like you're supposed to be there, and most people won't ever hassle it. So when everyone stands up for the band, you don't know what table is which or who's with who. So as soon as Green Day comes on, everyone stands up. And we're like, fuck it, let's go. So we start weaving our way through, and it's like, hey, what's up, dude? How you doing, man? Good to see you again. Walking around with Dave Grohl's there. What's up, Dave? Kid Rock. Hey, man, what's up? I know those guys, but you just kind of see them passing. And we end up right behind the table where the Beatles are. Like, dude, right fucking. And you want to talk short? Like Ringo, you know, Ringo's short. Paul's about my height, but he's very skinny.
Yeah.
And they're standing. I actually have a great picture that Chad took. I was trying to find of the back of my head and the back of Paul's head. I was like, this is our Sergeant Pepper picture. Like, it's not our faces, but it still fucking counts, right?
That's great.
So I remember Green Day was playing American Idiot. Hey, hey, and McCartney's just going, hey, hey. And I was like, this is fucking great. He's super into it. So they Green Day's inducted, they finish, and now Paul is walking towards the bathroom or wherever the fuck he's going, and he's got his security guard in front of him. And I'm like, this is my chance. So Paul, there's like a line of tables. Paul's here and I'm here. So we're walking, and suddenly, we happen to meet up right at the tip of the tables. Paul, Green Day was awesome. Oh, they were great, man. Like typical Paul McCartney. And he's super friendly, but also he's not like, he knows, like, obviously, come on, dude. Like, oh, wow. And I said, hey, Paul, like, I noticed you got a security guard in front of you. I said, if you happen to get attacked by ninjas, I got your back. And he's like, okay, man, you know, keep that in mind. And I'm like Chris Farley, stupid. So then I go, high five, Paul. And he gives me one. And and Chad was, and we just start fucking jumping up and down like, ah! So we go into the bathroom, and this is in Cleveland at a building where the Beatles played like in 64, 65. And that's where they had the ceremony. And we go into the bathroom, and we're in there, and a guy comes in, a bigger guy, and he goes, everyone has to leave. Yoko needs to go to the bathroom. We're like, he's like, no, everyone needs to leave. Yoko, and like, this is the boys' bathroom. It's like Yoko is. So there was like a partition where there's like, here's the sinks, here's some toilets, and then there's around the corner of the stalls. So everyone leaves, and I fuck off, and I go into one of the stalls. Don't know what I'm going to do.
Did you have your feet down, or did you
put my feet on the toilet seat like a fucking murder,
awesome.
like a
pro.
serial killer movie, like Friday 13th. And I hear Yoko come in, and she's with her friend. I'm like, what am I going to do? Like,
oh my God.
I locked the door beforehand. So there's here, and there's here and here. And buffer rule, thankfully, her friend goes to the right of me, and Yoko goes to the left. And I see like this black kind of cloth underneath, like she's taking her dress off to go pee. Thankfully, it was pee. And I literally text Chad.
I was about to ask.
I literally text Chad, dude, I'm listening to Yoko Ono pee right now.
Hilarious.
So she leaves the bathroom, and then I'm like, well, I fucking open the door. I walk out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I thought this was the men's room. And she's like, it is the men's room. Like, in my mind, she's like speaking super Japanese, like Speedy's old girlfriend. Oh, this is men's room. And I'm like, how many fucking freaks has she met over the last 60 years? Like, oh my God, sorry, I thought it was. And so I start washing my hands, and she's washing her hands, and she has a whole thing of paper towels by her, and I have nothing by me. And she goes like, you have to dry your hands. Dry your hands. You can't walk out with wet hands. And I was like, sorry, Yoko. Thank you. To dry my hands. I was like, are you having a good time? Oh, this is the best time. And I'm not even going to try and do the accent. She's like, oh, this is such a good time. And it's just so great. You have fun. And I'll see you out there, whatever. And I walk out, and the fucking guard is standing there. And I go, I don't know what the fuck just happened. And I walk out, and he was so like, so anyways, wow. Here's the fucking the epilogue of the story. After I just fucking stalked Yoko Ono to the bathroom, we go to the after party because the girl Betsy gets us to the after party. And we go in there, and there's a giant spread, and Paul is sitting with Joe Walsh because Joe Walsh's wife is Ringo's wife's sister. So there's a connection, right? Cool. So he's sitting there talking, and then Chad got starstruck by meeting John Varvatos, which is hilarious. He goes, John Varvatos, don't ever go out of business. That was his advice to him.
He won't. They're going to buy that shit at Walmart now.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, Paul's there, and he gets up to grab some cheese because there's a big cheese spread, and everybody wants to talk to him, and everyone wants to talk to him. And I'm like, I'm going to run fucking interference to help him out. But I go over to him, listen, Paul, if anybody's bothering you, let me know and I'll help you out. And he just goes, who are you, man? Are you a cameraman or a security guard? Like, what are you? And I'm like, a cameraman? Like, what? And he goes, listen, if I have any problems with the ninjas, I'll let you know. And he walks away. And all I could think of, he remembered the ninjas. He knows who I am.
High five.
High five, Chad.
That's great.
So there
Hilarious.
you go.
Oh my God, that's a great story. Jeez.
And even better, the end of the HBO films that me and Chad were right in the front, and for some fucking asshole's hand keeps going in front of the camera. Like the camera's back here, but there's a hand like right there. And if you ever watch it, that's my hand. I'm in the front row just jumping up and down. And like Paul's right here. And every time my hand goes in front of his face, it's like, who the fuck is this guy?
That's right.
So
I love how you guys owned it as you walk through. And you know Dave, and you're like, hey, Dave Grohl, hey, man. He's probably like,
what's up,
he's
dude?
going for it. He's going for it.
He's going in. He's going in. So good times, guys. We could probably tell a million more of these stories, and we'll do this again.
Yeah.
But once again, a very sober, concise edition of Winnipeggers.
Yeah.
Congratulations. So now that we've proven we can do it, let's just go completely fucking batshit crazy again next time.
Next time.
Guys, don't forget this week's sponsor, Dave Spivak, amazing toques. And if you're not from Canada, a toque is what you guys call a beanie or a wool hat or a winter cap. It's a great looking toque. It's very good quality, as Dave said, and they're selling hotcakes, and we're not joking about this. He's already made a couple batches sold out across Canada and the United States. NFL linemen are wearing these toques.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. We have an NFL lineman that's been wearing them. It was in the Phillies game and in Pittsburgh the week later.
Did you get any more information about that?
No, just some mysterious cat that's walking around with a DSP toque. I got T-shirts right here. It's hard to do this. And I got hats, too. So hit me up. Come in on the website. Got new music coming out. DaveSpivakProject.com.
There you go. This week's sponsor, who paid nothing for it, but neither did Tyler at One Way Foods.
Hard-boiled
if you
eggs.
see me, give me some $5.
Hard-boiled eggs, herring, capers.
Next week, we got our Christmas Eve edition of the Winnipeggers. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I don't know if anyone's going to listen, but we're going to be here because every Thursday at 9, much like SCTV in Mellonville, the Winnipeggers are here for you guys. So I guess we'll see you next week for the Christmas show. Rybo, you better think of something because I got nothing for that.
Yeah, and I'm out.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks so much, and we'll see you very soon. Playwriters?
at gas stations.
Hold
That's
on.
where they all are.
Phrases?
Phrases.